Welcome to Henley Royal Regatta 2025. Today starts the 186th edition of this famous event. It's a highlight of the British social scene and a chance for athletes to showcase their talents at the world's most magical rowing meet. With over 400 races scheduled, how does the format work and what exactly is the regatta all about? Henley steward and Rowing Australia CEO Sarah Cook explains all.
Henley Royal Regatta, first held in 1839, is one of the most prestigious and historic events in the sport of rowing. Each year, thousands converge on the small town by the Thames as crews battle it out over the 6 days of the regatta to win one of 27 famous trophies. These are straight knockout races setting out from Temple Island at the start of the 1 mile and 550 yard course. One boat is drawn on the Buckinghamshire side and the other on the Berkshire station. Crews are aiming to progress towards Sunday's finals. There are 4 trophies for junior crews as school and club rowers aged 18 or under vie for supremacy in quads and eights. 3 student events attract the best university and college crews from the UK and overseas. 4 club titles are up for grabs in 4s and 8s. 4 intermediate events sit between club and premier level competition. And the best senior scullers and sweepers compete in the 12 premier events. The premier category includes the oldest event at the regatta, the Grand Challenge Cup for Open Eights. The record time being set in 2018 at 5 minutes 53 seconds by a crew from Rowing Australia. For all rowers competing at Henley Royal Regatta, standing on the podium at Sunday's prize giving is the ultimate target. That remains one of the proudest achievements for any rower and a memory to last a lifetime.
This year features a brand new trophy for women's intermediate eights in the Bridge Challenge Plate. We'll hear more about that later because day one is all about the club and junior categories, and we start with a match-up in the junior quads between Star Club and Maidenhead in the Fawley.
So open junior quads, Maidenhead Rowing Club against Star Club. Fawley, and it's a pretty feisty start from both boats here, Sarah, both quite punchy starts.
Yeah, you can see how quick and clean they have come off this start, just getting themselves straight into their racing.
And here we are further down in this race, and it's the Buck Station Maidenhead Rowing Club who have climbed into a length lead. Well, we had a local winner of the Fawley last year in Windsor Boys. I wonder if we might be seeing something on Sunday similar, because Maidenhead Rowing Club don't need to be talking about who might or might not get through to the finals, but a little glance over the shoulder there in the bow seat from William Snoxall, who will be very pleased with what he sees, because it's going well here for Maidenhead Rowing Club. That's the lead he wants, isn't it? In front of stewards, that's a pretty much perfect lead there. They'll just sit on that.
It is, and what we can see, their star just moving over in front of them a little bit, but Maidenhead, they're on their station in good space. And Windsor Boys School, they've got 2 boats in this, last year's winner. They will be watching this heat, I'm sure.
I think so, and Maidenhead Rowing Club, based on that opening heat in the Fawley Challenge Cup, might be ones to watch.
Well, what a great start to the week's racing. Now, the boat tents may look busy, but in fact, after a massive 768 entries, a lot of crews have already gone home after qualifying. Vesta Rowing Club, though, coached by James Cracknell, qualified 3 Open Eights in the Thames Challenge Cup, and their A crew faced off against Sydney Rowing Club on day 1.
It looks like a very sharp start from Vesta on the Berkshire station.
It does, but Sydney there, they see their blades are coming down, they're looking quick and clean. This is a very fast crew, we believe, who's come in for the regatta, so I'm excited to see how they deal with this first part. Vesta are going to have to sit with them. They know that they've got a crew that have come here who've won in their home championships, but have they managed to bring their speed internationally? Sydney Rowing Club boat that we're looking at there, blades just scooping the water, and Vesta with their maroon and black, crimson and black blades, sorry, you can see coming through too.
Sydney Rowing Club cruising past stewards. Vesta are trying to narrow the gap right to the end, working hard, digging deep, Vesta. But Sydney have this all under control. It was worth staying up for, wasn't it? Over in Oz, you'd have enjoyed that. If your family and friends supporting there, that was worth staying up for. Over the line they go. Sydney Rowing Club through in the Thames Challenge Cup.
There was some incredible racing in the women's Club 8s. Nottingham and Shiplake Vikings had a fierce battle in the Wargrave.
Nottingham Rowing Club, who are angled slightly towards the centre of the course at Temple Island, off the Berkshire station to the left. They've gone a little bit central, but helped out by Shiplake Vikings Rowing Club staying in a good spot on their side. Well, Shiplake Vikings Rowing Club have had a little burst there, but there's a response from Nottingham Rowing Club, who have maintained a slender lead. Here come Shiplake again, closest to your camera there, as they come on the Buck station. Have they done enough to edge the lead? This is going to be so tight. Last couple of strokes, Shiplake try and push on. Nottingham Rowing Club trying to stay, and have they got one more trick up their sleeve? You have to produce that in the next 10 strokes. The line is coming, and Shiplake are trying to push away. They're trying to find a bit of extra energy, and I think they have done that. Yes, Shiplake have moved in the last few strokes to win by, well, half a length, and that doesn't really reflect the close nature of that race. Shiplake Vikings Rowing Club were pushed and pushed and pushed all the way in front of stewards. You'll look at that in years to come and say, oh, half a length, okay, that's regulation. It wasn't that, it was so close.
80 races were scheduled on day one, including a number of local head-to-heads. One of them came in the Wyfold. The Club Open Coxless fours, Royal Chester, were drawn against rivals Northwich.
Off they go, 2,112 metres ahead of them.
And a real contrast here, no Cox, only 4 of them, much quieter environment and completely self-contained. Somebody in the boat has to make all the calls, somebody in the boat has to do the steering.
Incredibly challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, and Northwich here moving out to maybe 3/4 of a length. Both crews really long and lively, actually. You can see that both crews here have a tandem on their boats, which means that 2 people are sitting next to each other with the oar on the same side. And in a Coxless, in a 4, generally that means that helps the boat go a bit straighter, although it looks unconventional. And fair play to the steersmen, both crews. They're both under pressure. They've both steered really good courses down here, really giving themselves a chance to row their best row.
So this is a good race, very tight. And that turn of pace that we were talking about from Royal Chester Rowing Club, they're trying to get back and level with Northwich Rowing Club. They're not going to manage that because there was a response there just as Royal Chester tried to show. Yeah, there's actually a bit of a half chance here because Northwich Rowing Club got slowed up. They've still got enough in the tank, but Adrian, that was tight to finish because they, what, 10 strokes from the end?
Oh, they got away with that. Wow, that was close.
They had just enough momentum in the boat to get them over the finish line. Royal Chester Rowing Club would have been unaware. But that is a great lesson to everybody, isn't it, Adrian? Why you have to keep racing right till the end. Because it's something like, I mean, that really was nearly catastrophic for Northwich Rowing Club.
In the Junior Open Quads, there was another local matchup. Marlow, who are just a few miles downstream, faced off against Henley Club Leander, who are based just there. That was in the Fawley Challenge Cup.
And in the Fawley Challenge Cup, Marlow Rowing Club versus Leander Club A.
huge pedigree for both clubs in this event. And it looks as though Leander just moving across into the middle a bit off the start. Interesting to see how that pays off as we go further down the course.
Yeah, still very close here. It is just Leander Club with the advantage over Marlowe after an early steering correction there.
It looks to me like Leander have just made a little push. I think that they've just increased that rate of striking by a couple pips. I can see the bowman, I think that's William Eaton. He's just had a quick glance across in the cap on the left-hand side, and he's barked an order to the rest of the crew. You can see that hull moving, and here they come.
Wow, changing blows. You called it, Cam. Here comes Leander. To me, it looks like Marlowe just looking a little stressed, a bit over the handles at the finish, but looking really strong, making a decisive push here is Leander. Does Marlowe have a response? Still locked together, bow ball for bow ball. It's Marlowe Rowing Club and Leander Club. Marlowe, what a fight they keep putting on. These attacks keep coming from Leander, but they can't get through.
And they've just responded. So Marlowe have increased that now, the rate of striking to about 40. They've glanced across. I just saw the strokeman, John Ken. He had a quick look. He's moved it, and he can get fueled by the echoes and the bellows of the enclosures. They've increased their rhythm.
The Marlowe crew, coached by Peter Chambers, they've responded. They kept being attacked by Leander all the way down the course, but they couldn't get the better of them. They look across, they're going to have to go for it here, but Marlowe seems to be moving on.
Yeah, that was William Eaton just shouting progress boards, 10 strokes, let's go. He's going to go all the way to the line, but it looks like Marlowe have just got the upper hand at the moment.
Wow, what a race. Heartbreak for Leander.
Beautiful race. Well done, both crews.
So yeah, we drew Leander on the first day. We knew it was going to be tough. We sort of neck and neck with them all season. They got out to a good start, got us a little bit, but then very mature racing from the lads behind me. Just stuck in it, drew them back sort of in the middle, and then at the end we just pulled away again. So I was stroke and I had the toe I was steering, so very tricky at the start sometimes with the wind pushing you around, but pretty calm waters today, so it's pretty easy just to get that straight line.
On what is the hottest day of the year so far, the action out on the water has been brilliant, with some future stars in the junior and club categories. Great Britain's greatest Olympian, five-time rowing gold medalist Sir Steve Redgrave has been leading the regatta for the last decade, but last December he made way for a new chair in Richard Phelps.
It's a total privilege to be chair of Henley Royal Regatta. I've been on the committee for 20 years. I never thought I would become chair, so a privilege and an honour. It's a fantastic role. This magical place pops up in the spring like a flower, and that's because of the headquarters team. I'm just lucky to be chair of that organisation. So gender parity is very important to Henley Royal Regatta. Our first full women's event was in 1993. Sir Steve Redgrave, when he was chair, really pushed the agenda forward in earnest. We created lots of new women's events, and now we're in the process of closing that journey, completing it, getting ourselves to an equal level of men's and women's, what we call open and women's events. The most recent step in that journey to gender parity has been creating the Bridge Challenge Plate, which is for intermediate women. We have not had a women's intermediate event at Henley. It was clearly something our clubs and universities and national team development managers were looking for. It was an obvious, most natural next step in our journey to gender parity. Henley Royal Regatta has always been one of the most famous regattas in the world. A combination of purposeful evolution, well-considered change, but also still capturing the very essence of what Henley is, I think has made Henley Royal Regatta in 2025 even more attractive to athletes. And therefore we're getting not just school children, club rowers and university students, but international Olympians who want to come and compete on this course. There's something, it's not a 6-lane Olympic course, it's side by side. There's something slightly more gladiatorial about it. Making sure that everyone who comes to Henley has an amazing experience is a priority for the committee of the regatta, whether a competitor or a spectator. But what is really important is that when someone walks into Stewart's enclosure, they feel that they're going into this magical place. It's where Grace Kelly could be walking past them. That's the experience they want to have. It's also an enormous reunion club. So people walk in knowing they're going to see their friends from last year, from 10 years ago. And then going downriver, there's a regatta enclosure where it's a bit more relaxed, people can get close to racing. Success is where we are changing, getting better, but keeping what is quintessentially the most magical regatta in the world.
So a busy time ahead for the new chair, but let's get back to the racing. The afternoon session began with a classic between DRC Hanover and the City of Bristol in the Thames.
Go!
Driving off the start there, City of Bristol, Ring Club A on your right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side of your screen, Hanover of Germany. And it's a strong start from City of Bristol, who look like they've just got the slip there.
Yeah, you can see them. They're off a very powerful start, the way they get their oars in the water. A little bit off course there, so they'll want to check in. They'll get a message from Matthew on that.
Yeah, quite aggressive steering there in the first 100 metres. You don't really want to see that from your Cox, but the river, you're going against the stream here, so it can certainly kick your bows out, but quite relaxed, punchy start there as we look down the boat there. City of Bristol, stroked by Ned Clark, looks like he's in control.
Yeah, you know, this is their A boat, so if you're new to rowing, there's A boat and there's a B boat, so there's multiple crews entered into this race, and it just talks about the depth of the club.
Bristol heads up, hips up, breathe up, because you're going to be going through to the later stages of this race. The Cox has got to stay on course, but as they come here past the floating grandstand, past the crowds, we see them take their final stroke in the first round of this Thames Challenge Cup, victorious in a cracking race.
In the very next race, Canford School took on a French 8 from Boulogne and the Princess Elizabeth, and it was a cracker.
At the start of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup Junior Schoolboy A, it's Boulogne, France against Canford School of England, and off they go.
And this is interesting. Boulogne, this is their first competition for all of these athletes. This is their first Henley Royal Regatta, and so they are going to have a lot of excitement right now.
I think Canford have just got their bow ball ahead, and they're going to know it. The movement is perfect in this crew from Canford, and they're going to soak this up. They've got 200 metres. Do they have the energy, the power, the rhythm to hold this charge?
Right now, it's all about momentum, and Canford has that momentum. You know, Boulogne has held the race for so long, and now they've just been, there's just such excitement. I'm getting tongue-tied here.
They've been destroyed, and Canford had an answer. They were down by almost a length, and they've come back to what is a heroic victory. And as they cross the finish line, they're going to be excited to know they've got one more day in the Princess Elizabeth. The roars and the cheers. Boulogne hit the water in anger, but it's a win for Canford School in the Princess Elizabeth over Boulogne 92.
And the crowds were treated as great racing continued throughout the afternoon.
So powerful, punching off the start line. These junior men's quads, look at them go.
Yeah, and we can see that slight steering correction as well, and it really does push you out that current in that portion of the race. They look like they've actually come on back to course really well, and there is an element of this course where you kind of have to go with a little bit and just correct in a manner that can send you back on track. But both crews look to be running down their booms very calmly.
They've got about 400 metres to go. Can they hold this squeeze? But Hartbury is still charging. They've not given up yet.
I think Hartbury's on the move again. I think the confidence to make another move after that move was sort of stopped, and Hartbury is going. They are taking seat by seat.
They've just changed the gear and they've gone a bad ball ahead. Who saw that coming? Not me, but they've just gone up through the gears. The cheers of the crowd have willed them on in these last 200 metres, and they had a sniff of Neerad and they've gone right through them. Look at the move.
Yeah, their rating looks a little bit higher. It looks like they've got the momentum. They are just powering their boat on, and that has been about a length in 100 metres. That was impressive, and look, now it just feels like they've closed this race down, but that took a lot of efforts.
Past the progress boards, past the lollipop seats, past the floating grandstand, these boys from the West Country have just put in a huge hammer to take out Neerad Boat Club, USA.
And now we're at the start for the Wyfold. The club open fours, Upper Thames, the local crew on the left, Tideway Scullers from downriver on the right.
Yeah, the starts in these fours are really important when you're kind of trying to battle that stream, and there'll be one rower in this event that has the steering attached to their foot, and the rest of the rowers are trying to sort of time their power in this start when you're trying to put all into it but work as a crew, so you come out straight, you come out even, and you give your crew the best chance possible.
Underneath us, on the right of the picture there's Upper Thames, locals coached by the legendary Dave Lister. I think Tideway Scullers are giving it a real go here, and it looks like the lead is indeterminate at the moment. Are they going to come through? Tideway Scullers giving it a major push.
They really are, and this will be feeling like nothing separating the crews when they're in that boat. So no crew will be feeling like they are safe here, and it's turning into a stroke-by-stroke race, and it's all about momentum when you get into this sort of stage. Who can create the momentum, who can keep moving, and as they come into these last few 100 metres, it's tough to tell.
Upper Thames may have the edge on the home water. The grandstands here, Tideway Scullers, it's neck and absolutely neck. I couldn't put a piece of paper between those two crews at the moment. So how many strokes have got? Maybe 10 strokes left, 10 on the legs. Who's it going to be?
And this will be when it'll be like shut your eyes and just go. Just get as many strokes as you can in, but it looks like it might be Upper Thames with the slight advantage.
All on the surge by maybe 30 centimetres. We think it was Upper Thames there. We can check that to be certain, but what a great race.
A photo finish for the first time at this year's regatta, and it was Upper Thames who progressed by the narrowest of margins. And the next Wargrave clash saw another great race between Worcester and Royal Chester.
Every rower has a slight different take on what they want to do, and my take was always you want to find that red line, that fastest boat speed that you can produce, because it's really key in an 8 to get off the blocks. In the first 10, 15 strokes, maybe 20 is when you reach your maximum speeds. You try to get the highest possible speed, and then it's about holding on to it. If you pitch in or you hook in too low, then actually your race pace as a consequence suffered. It's really hard to be able to generate extra speed as you go down the course. And as you can see, it's an incredibly tight race. What a beautiful shot of this regatta.
This has got the makings of an absolute humdinger, as you say, Mo. If you're not familiar with rowing, it's a bit like getting a bicycle wheel. Imagine you've got your bike upside down and you're trying to spin the wheel. You need to push it quite hard to start, and then you need to ping it along. And the challenge at this section of the race, when it's so close, is to keep that relaxation, keeping it feeling lively and light when you know that somebody else is pushing against you. It's cat and mouse. So this is the club women's 8s event. You're seeing a real humdinger all the way down the track. It's gone. We've got Royal Chester on the right with an advantage. They've only got about 10, 12 strokes to go now. It's a tall order for Worcester, and it's how many strokes you can get in and how much you've got left in those legs.
Good response from Royal Chester Rowing Club there.
So I think that move in that painful third quarter by Royal Chester, that set the finish for them, winning through to the next round of the Wargrave, the club women's 8s event.
Lucy, congratulations on your victory. You're a Cox for Chester Rowing Club, and you just beat Worcester. Yeah, how have you found it all?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, super happy to be here. We're the first women's crew ever from Royal Chester to qualify, so absolutely delighted. So to win today was just like the cherry on top of the cake, really. It was amazing.
so that is day one done. It has been a scorching start to this year's regatta. Looking ahead, the student events get underway on day 2, and last year Oxford Brookes University won all 3 trophies. Can anyone unseat them this year? We'll find out. See you then.